last season, it took till game 82. I believe they clinched on in the final game or maybe game 81 for the Washington Capitals to punch their ticket into last season's um, postseason, into their playoffs. And they were unceremoniously swept like at the hands of the New York Rangers in 4 games last year. This year, though, the Washington Capitals look like they are the crown jewel this year. They are the first team to clinch a playoff spot. They are well on their way to winning a President's Trophy. I believe it would be their second or third President's Trophy in their history. Um, and we could potentially see, speaking of playoff matchups, we could potentially see a rematch of last year's first round, but this time in the inverse order with the Washington Capitals as the first seed and the New York Rangers potentially as the second wild card, and facing against against the Capitals. Did I say the New York Rangers? I felt like I did I say them there? I don't even remember.
These reverse roles of the matchup from last year. Yeah, yeah.
I dude,
Uh,
that would be really interesting to watch. Like as
it's a
much
nice
as we said
storyline. I like
we
that.
don't want to see repeat matchups and like stuff like that, but like
This
anytime
is
you get
different
Rangers
seating though, right?
Caps,
This is like if it was we talked about like it's been one-sided.
mhm.
It's cool to see the Caps as the big time favorites in this, right?
Yeah.
But I don't know. I kind of wanted to talk about this because I don't know if the Caps get enough respect, like as being to me,
I
like
don't
they
know
they
why.
honestly,
It
yeah,
feels like nobody's talking about them. Like, dude, Logan Thompson is genuinely like the a top three goaltender in the league right now, and it feels like well, okay, here's the thing. When you have Connor Hellebuck in your league and he's playing at like a
yeah.
918 plus, 920 plus save percentage, it's tough to get excited when you kind of know who's going to win the Vezina. But I mean, listen, I'm going to give kudos to Logan Thompson for even putting up a fight this late into
No
the
one would
year.
have
And
thought that, right? Brother got
yeah,
traded for a third round pick.
brother is quite literally on like league min, like under league min right now, like to bet on
Yeah.
himself. And he
Um,
he did get a bag from
yeah.
the Caps going
But a lot of
forward.
the credit
So
too, like I think even like Thompson would admit this, a lot of the credit for his numbers looking great is like the Carberry system. Um,
mhm.
this is another one where it's like if you're polling, probably not fans because I don't know how much they care, but let's say if you were polling NHL front offices, like I think Spencer Carberry polls very well just in terms of likability. He would get a very, very high approval rating.
Yeah,
So I think he
yeah,
gets a
maybe.
lot of credit. And it like you just look at these. Actually, I'm going to start here instead. Let's start with this has been something that's talked about. So I'm late on this. I'm not going to give you some crazy new information here, but Alexei Protas, brother, has been insane this season.
Dynamite. Yes.
I don't know if anyone, maybe our buddy Brian saw this
Brian.
coming,
Oh,
our
Brian,
resident
Brian,
Caps friend.
yeah.
But he goes to
Brian
bat for
definitely
everyone.
knows.
Like he was
He
telling me,
does.
like we were walking the halls in grade 10, and he's like, Burakovsky's gonna be insane for us. He's gonna be a 40 goal scorer. He's like our Nylander. I don't know if we'd go that far, but hey, we
I
also
he
hit
was
this. I
useful.
could yeah, I could reveal a lot of my bad Leafs takes, but Alexei Protas is the guy I want to highlight because specifically it's the even strength points. You know the stat here? Do you know where he is in the league?
Um, no, but give it to me.
Okay.
It's high. I know this for sure because I picked him up in
Yeah.
fantasy like midway through the season, and he
Mhm.
is a point machine. And you're saying just general points or just assists?
This is even strength points,
Even
points,
strength
just
points.
goals and assists add even strength. And the reason that we're highlighting this is because, and this is something that apparently like even Carberry's spoken to. Um, the reason he's got so many even strength points is because they don't put him out on the power play because he basically would be playing the entire game. Okay. And you know what? Honestly, I'm looking at it. He actually like he's getting a steady amount of ice time. Like he's not getting overworked. He's only at 16:30 time on ice per game. So it's interesting they don't want to use him too much on the power play. But that's kind of the rationale. He's very important for them on the penalty kill as well. Anyways, 63 points in 70 games, even strength of those 63, 58. 58 points at even strength of the
Holy
63.
hell.
That ranks seventh in the entire league. That is ahead of names like Sidney Crosby, Kyle Connor, Mitch Marner, Jack Eichel, Mikko Rantanen. Like he's seventh in the damn league. I don't know if anybody would have expected that. So I think he's the number one name to highlight on the team. But it's also just like if you look at their
Dude, all their
yeah,
additions, like from this offseason, all their additions, Pierre-Luc Dubois, who they traded for, Logan
yeah,
Thompson, who they traded for, um,
Matt Roy, who they
Jake
signed,
Jacob Chikrin and Matt Roy, who
who
they
they traded
signed.
for.
Oh,
Even
they
Andrew
they
Mangiapane has been like a depth piece.
I think
Who I
Andrew Mangiapane, if Andrew Mangiapane, who I think is just under 20 goals this year, I think he has like
he's at 13 goals, 25 points in 69 games. So like
if that is
he's
your
literally
most underwhelming addition to the thing, I
yeah,
think that's a
it's a
great
resounding success. Absolute
100%.
success. They are very much the anti Nashville Predators.
Yeah.
And I bought the goods on both teams. So I was all in on Nashville, and I've been that for 3 years. And that didn't go very well. But I was also pretty high on the Caps. I don't even think I was this high on like the Pierre-Luc Dubois factor is huge, right? Like that one 61 points in 70 games as well. Their top three just scores by points. I don't know how many people would have had these three in the Caps top three if you were guessing before the season. Maybe you'd have had Dylan Strome after last year. He's their leading scorer with 68 points in 70 games, so he's just under point per game. Ovechkin with the injury is fourth, right? He did have the injury earlier in the year, so
Yeah.
it would probably be him. You're getting a career year out of Tom Wilson, who hit the 30 goal mark for the first time in his career. I think he's the second oldest player to hit 30 goal, like he's played the second most amount of games in the NHL before
Before
recording his
hitting.
first 30 goal season.
Who's the first, Zach Hyman?
You know what? I don't think it's Zach, right? Because Zach was a late bloomer. He was a late bloomer. Tom Wilson, I think, was in the league at like I
Oh,
want
that
to I
is
want to say a
true.
really young age.
Yeah,
I
that
know,
is
but
true.
like
You're talking
if you're
just in
looking at maybe
terms of
just
games and not age. Okay. Okay.
yes,
Yeah, you
yes.
might be right
So
on. Well, no, you definitely are right. Like he's
I
definitely got
believe
to
he's
be.
second.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Like
All
like
right.
I mean I'm saying I think he's this like he's played the second most games before hitting
Before
30
hitting
goals.
30. I'd be very curious,
Anyways,
producer
like you go
Mando, if you're listening.
you go down the list though, like it's just every name you're like career year, career year, career year. And I mean maybe that you don't think that's sustainable if that's the case, right?
Yeah.
Um like Rasmus Sandin is another one who's been just solid
Yeah.
as a rock for them,
That one hurts.
right? So yeah, like it's so tough because you look at Dylan Cousins right now in Ottawa and how he, and in a very small sample size, is doing really, really well. And you're like the Sabres, they for all they want, they can say that one hurts, and it does. But you know that wasn't happening if he stayed there. You just know it for a fact. You
Yeah.
know it deep down. Maybe
And
it's not
here's
that
the
bad with
thing.
Sandine, but
Where is Sandine fitting in this current, like would you rather him in like a top
the
four spot right now or taking one of the guys currently off the Leaf roster?
so you know what the problem is that I think last year it would have been still a bit of an awkward fit. But if you had him this year in place of Oliver Ekman Larson, because I think he's making a mil more than OEL. So if you budgeted for that,
Okay.
you would just be happier like about your future outlook, I think. But once
Uh,
again, like there's a year in
yeah.
between there. You still got to pay Rasmus one more million. Like there's moving numbers there. You don't have Easton Cowan, which means if you traded for Adrian Minton, you have like no top prospects. Like there's all the different
Yes. Yeah, yeah.
variants. I just think I really do think that for me, I would even go as far to say like they're a shoe in for me on every bracket that I make ahead of the playoffs to go to the conference finals. Like I think they're coming out of the Metro side of the playoff bracket, no problem. I'm taking them over the Hurricanes. I'm taking them whoever they match up against. The Devils, unfortunately, are shells of themselves. We'll get to them in a minute, but like I
Yeah.
don't know. Like
Dude,
they're
I
very
think
high up on my Stanley Cup rankings right now.
like they are the best team in the Metro, like by points. And I think they're also so good that no other team in the Metro, at the very least, even touches them. Like I don't even think
Yeah,
Carolina's like close to the same level. Like they have pieces in Carolina that maybe could compete on some nights, but dude, getting to the conference final, playing mostly Metro teams, let's say, 4 games, five. I wouldn't even give. I would in the first round. I don't give whoever they play more than 5 games. I don't give them
Yeah,
like anybody.
yeah. Here's the kicker too. So I talked about how Protas isn't actually playing that much. He isn't. Um, like who do you think their most played forward is per game?
Is it
I'm
Dylan
gonna give
Strom?
no, he's third.
Really?
The top five in time on ice is the defense. Tom Wilson plays 1841 a night. He is the most played per game forward on the Washington Capitals. And I think a lot of people don't think that Tom Wilson has like that many dimensions to his game where he can be relied upon like that. And
Yeah.
Carberry's been able to get that out of him. Ovechkin is number two, which I mean, I'm not going to go too crazy on because I think probably a lot of that is influenced by what he's going for
The
this year,
power
right? So
play.
there's
Yeah.
some of that. And then yeah, Dylan Strome 1729, Pierre-Luc Dubois 715. Basically, they're getting us close to maybe not rolling 4 lines, but I would say they're
Rolling
aiming to
three.
roll 3 lines.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
they're a very balanced team. So I think the biggest knock on them that people have come up with is lack of star power. But just
It,
like
I didn't even want to hear that, dude.
I just
You have
like the
Alex
balance.
Ovechkin. You have Alex Ovechkin. Like okay, like regardless of what you think of Alex Ovechkin in the year 2025 in terms of like his star power, like maybe he's not Alex Ovechkin of 10 years ago. Like he's not at like he's older, whatever. All the knocks against
Yeah,
him, like in power play merchant. I've heard it all. That is still goddamn Alex Ovechkin that you have on your team any given
yeah,
night. Even if he's not a star, that is still one of the best captains in the NHL. That guy can get anybody to run through a wall. And I think that's a big part of like, you know, he had his slump last year. He had a down season, but the whole team kind of had a down season. And now they're back in. He's bought in. The whole team is bought in. Like I think like, oh my God, I don't
I
know.
don't know if any
I
like I don't know if there's a more fully bought in team this year. Like I think a lot of times people would say the most bought in team to their system is the Hurricanes, but with everything that's happened there, they are not that team this year. They're not.
yeah, yeah.
The other option is I would say the Winnipeg Jets, right? And they're
I
both of
don't
these
trust the
teams are
Winnipeg Jets
leading their
either.
conferences. I yeah, you know, it's not even I don't yeah, this is just like a hunch thing. I just really like what the Capitals have put together this year.
Yeah.
Um, I do think they're low disrespected. I'm going to put one more cherry on top of this conversation. You want to talk about star power? They're going to be adding someone still. They're adding Ryan Leonard before the season ends. Like that's
Oh,
going to
I forgot
happen.
about Ryan Leonard.
Ryan
Damn.
Leonard, like he's going to be in the conversation. He might even be the favorite for the Hobie Baker.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So
Is
remember how
when
awesome it
is
felt to add Matthew Nyes on our
Yeah,
roster?
yeah,
How
yeah.
great
When
did
is
that feel?
the Frozen Four? Do we have the
Well, you
dates
know,
for
so
the
think about when Matthew Nyes was in it. It timed up right about to the end of the season,
Yeah, like the
right?
last couple of games, I
Because he
think,
was in
right?
the final and he played what 2 games maybe before the playoffs started,
I think it
right?
was 2 games, yeah,
Yeah.
in
So
22,
that's
23.
usually so if they go all the way, if Leonard goes all the way, with Boston College, and chance of that for sure. Um, even
Give
then,
him a little showcase, yeah.
we've also had like guys like Kale McCarr and producer Mano
M
giving us
M
here the first round for Frozen Four. Yeah, it's
March
literally
27,
and then you
28.
get the actual championship on the 12th. So
And I know April 12th is like I think the Leafs have 5 or 6 games after that.
it might
Like
it might even be less, man. I think there's only 1 week after that, like until the regular season. I think the last day of the regular season is the 20th or the 19th.
oh really? It's okay, so maybe it is like 3 or 4.
Yeah,
Okay, so it's
3 or 4.
probably like
Yeah,
around the same
yeah.
time. Yeah.
Either
Okay,
way,
fair.
I'll give you 2 names. Like these are guys who debuted in the playoffs for their teams. Charlie McAvoy, Gail McCarr. They helped their team's chances winning in the playoffs.
Pretty
And
good. Pretty good
pretty good,
guys.
pretty good. Matthew Nyes helped us.
Pretty
And
good.
guess what? Ryan
Hey,
Leonard, he's better than Matthew Nyes. Like this is one of the best prospects not in the NHL right now. Okay.
brother,
So the star power argument,
Matthew Nice came in and helped
feel like a
Beliefs
glove. Oh,
do their first like win a playoff series for the first time
yeah.
in 20 years. How many
Owns
people
Amalie
came?
Arena.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh my God.
Yeah.
kind
Yeah.
of kind of
So
hoping that we get to see that again. I'm not gonna
I
lie.
think
But
I think he's
Ryan
gonna be one of
Leonard,
the bigger stories, man. I think he's gonna be
yeah.
someone who everyone's like, oh my God, this guy is
I
really changing how I think about the Capitals.
I think the Caps in general, like we talked about it last episode. So Ovi's now at goal 888. I don't think he scored any since. Did he
No,
score
I think
anything
he's at
since
888
Friday?
right now. He's at 888.
888. Dude, okay. I said it last week. We could genuinely see goal record this year and then
Yeah.
cup for
Yeah, so I mentioned like that. I think we were saying that's like the best way to ride out into the sunset, right?
yeah.
But he has the other year on his deal. So, but I still think
He's
they're going to
coming
be here for the
back.
long haul. They're going to be here for
Is
the
he?
long haul.
Okay. Okay.
He's
All right.
coming back. He's coming back. Okay.
Okay.